It's arena time, fuckers. In seriousness, this one is actually going to be short today. I just kind of want to share my initial thoughts on the arena and some of the strategies that I've come up with doing, pure sorcery stuff. So, hope this helps. So, we'll go over my favorite topic, which is space control. And in order to go over that topic, we need to understand the space that we're inhabiting, which, in this case, is a circle. A circle with some very specific stipulations that we kind of have to look at. Now, it's not a perfect circle, but I'll explain that in a second. First, we have to know what the strongest position in a circle is. And my argument is that the strongest point of a circle is the center, because it is equally distant from all of the sides. The center of a circle is definitionally equally distant from any one point you could place on a circle. And the reason this is important is because what is the parallel between a circle and pure sorcery play? The answer is that you are also a circle that threatens anywhere that you can see around you. You can reach anywhere that your spells can reach, which means that you're going to want to maximize the distance that you can keep between an opponent and yourself. You can see the entire arena and reach pretty much the entire arena from the center, with the exception of the Caelid Arena, which has the pillars, but that only really affects play on the outside of the center. You can still pretty much run this strategy in the Caelid area as well. The only difference being that the pillars are used to break line of sight if you need to escape, or can be used to protect against your spells, but in that instance, they're just hiding behind a wall and they're not making progress anyway, so you still are at an advantage. An advantage is kind of the point, because it's not a foolproof strategy, obviously, and if you're playing with randoms, that does play into it a bit. But generally speaking, if you as the sorcerer are in the center, and your two teammates are going about their business just outside of the center, and maybe even further into the reaches of the edges, then you'll do fine, because you will be able to support all of them, while also fending off your own combatant from the center. Like in chess, controlling the center of the board usually leads to victory, and controlling is the key word here, not necessarily inhabiting. You can move outside of the center and still cover it with threatening spells. Ideally, I like to place a Terra Magicus as close to the center as possible, so that I have at maximum reach, and I could kind of skirt around the edges of that to really maximize my range. And then on top of that, if you get aggressed upon, you have the maximum possible distance to escape from, because you're in the center. You can easily go to a wall or to a teammate, most ideally a teammate. The sorceries of the game are mostly various speeds and timings of arcs that move off the radius of your center position. This might sound all really pretentious and it doesn't actually matter, but I'm pretty sure this theoretically stands. You don't want to be on one side of the arena, because then you aren't controlling as much space as you possibly can, and you don't want to be in that corner up there, because it just doesn't make sense for you. You can't reach the furthest side of the arena from there, and also you run the risk of getting trapped by as many as 3 other opponents. Yes, you can break line of sight with the little walls there and the corners, but there's a price to that, and if you get trapped by as many as 2 opponents, you're basically screwed. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone should be in the center, because if they are, then you could easily be surrounded and pelted with rot breath and all manner of giant hitboxes, because you're all in one localized place, so ideally only you as the sorcerer are in the center. And if you're playing with randoms, then you could do a Venn diagram thing with another sorcerer if you happen to get 1 or 2, and all 3 of you are, which might suck. If you're all playing perfectly, though, you might be able to just ping-pong the entire enemy team between you all. I haven't really tried this, so I can't attest to it. Do you need the best staff and Star Shower and all of the trappings of sorcery? No, not really. It makes things less complicated, but also less fun sometimes. Honestly, between Swift Glintstone Shard, Magic Glintblade, Shard Spiral, Piercer, and, Great Glintstone Shard, you're pretty much able to guarantee some hits here and there, and eventually whittle down an opponent. Oh, and Unseen Form is very important because from the center of the circle, you're very, very hard to lock onto when you have it on. It's basically like a cheap version of Eternal Darkness. I highly recommend it, on account of it also making you difficult to see, but also making you very, very hard to lock onto, and cast spells at from a distance. So you're kind of the only one that gets to cast spells. And hit. Now go! Fight! Win! Or don't. That's your decision.